Hi, my name is Bill East. Some of you know me as the inventor of the Construction Operations Building Information Exchange, or COBie standard. Today, I'm going to introduce you to a new buildingSMART International assessment called the COBie Certified Professional Exam. Here's the outline for today's talk. I'll begin with a quick definition of COBie and the motivation for this effort. Next, I'll discuss how our team decided what to include in the exam, and here I'll introduce two very important resources for you. The first is a list of required learning objectives. This can be used as a study guide or to evaluate training courses. The second is a set of 5 sample questions. These questions show how an increasing set of knowledge and skill might be assessed in the exam. Later on in today's talk, I'll also show you these example questions. After that, I'll give a quick thank you to those who participated, and then I'll wrap it up and issue you a personal COBie challenge. Since this exam is all about COBie, we should begin by saying that the COBie standard objectively defines the data needed to streamline the exchange of non-geometric manufactured product and equipment information for building projects. From its inception, COBie applied International Alliance for Interoperability and then buildingSMART International best practices. COBie's design was developed through the Information Delivery Manual process. In fact, in 2008, COBie's Information Delivery Manual was one of the first to be published on what was to have been the International Registry of IDMs hosted in Norway. COBie's technical specification is an IFC model view definition. The COBie MVD was published in 2015 using an IFC4 MVD XML specification. Per the front page of ISO 16739, the IFC standard states that an MVD may be delivered in formats other than STEP physical file format if there is a direct mapping with the necessary IFC objects. The alternative physical file format specified by the COBie standard is a multi-tabbed spreadsheet that maintains the essential relationships with the underlying IFC model. The required mapping rules are published as part of the COBie standard. During the 7 years following COBie's introduction in the US and UK, over 30 software products were successfully tested for their ability to produce or consume COBie data. Today, there are too many products that claim to support COBie to count. I no longer keep score. Instead, I help participating design and construction professionals produce common test models released under Creative Commons license. I also coordinate the ongoing development and testing of free COBie quality control software. This open source software can be used on any project by any stakeholder. Given this introduction, my question is, why after tens of thousands of man-hours invested in COBie, do some continue to say that COBie is just a spreadsheet? At best, such comments can only be understood as uninformed. With that being said, let's now turn from the introduction of COBie to the motivation for the buildingSMART COBie certification effort. Today, there are public and private owners all around the world requiring and even mandating COBie deliverables. Despite this success, things have not gone very smoothly. Owners blame designers and contractors for not providing accurate and timely data. Designers and contractors blame owners for not correctly specifying COBie deliverables. We all know the typical pattern of excuses, much too well. We've heard them all before. If COBie's not in the contract, we can ignore it despite documented benefits. If COBie is in the contract, we can ignore it until the end of the job to find out if it's going to be enforced. If COBie is going to be enforced, we can still ignore it until the end of the job and then hire someone to recollect, resurvey, re-enter, and reformat the information we collected years earlier in the project. We must get beyond these chicken and egg types of excuses. The standard is not the problem. We all know the exact same problems would occur no matter what we called this deliverable. The root cause of poor worldwide COBie adoption is that the standard has been widely misunderstood and often incorrectly applied. Even if project teams try to start COBie in-house, the person who passes for the local COBie expert is the person in the office who knows one more thing than you do. Owners cannot wait years for the industry to catch up. They must operate every building efficiently as soon as they get the keys. Owners must trust that the information they're being given is accurate. Frustrated with this chicken and egg game, owners reached out and asked for help. We formed the COBie Certification Subcommittee in November of 2019. Our goal was to define an enforceable set of COBie qualifications and assess people to see if they met these minimum requirements. 6 months later, we're ready to deliver an internationally recognized program that answered that need. As the program grows, we expect the resulting COBie Certified Professional designation will be used to pre-qualify designers and contractors during the bidding process. To describe the COBie certification effort, we need to have a common language about knowledge and skills. Educators and the COBie certification process uses Bloom's taxonomy, shown here. As a new learner, you enter Bloom's taxonomy from the top. Learners begin by remembering the basic facts. As learning increases, people can apply their knowledge. With hands-on experience, learners can correctly analyze and evaluate project-specific scenarios and alternatives. With full mastery of a subject, experts can synthesize conflicting requirements to create workable strategies for enterprise system integration. The COBie Certification Subcommittee's job was to create a set of testable learning objectives to distinguish those who know COBie from those who only claim to know COBie. The first step in this process was the job task analysis. This analysis identifies the knowledge and skills required to perform every related job that needs to be done. Our COBie job task analysis is documented in a set of 5 tables. Here you see part of one of those tables. In the first column is a brief description of the job to be done. The second column provides a generic description of the tasks involved. Those performing specific types of work shown in the third column may be the people who do that job. Managers might also recognize that such information can be used by human resource professionals to establish relevant job descriptions. In the fourth column are the learning levels from Bloom's taxonomy. During this process, we discovered 4 groups of required COBie learning. These levels are identified under the column Skill Validation Level. We mapped each of these 4 levels into the buildingSMART International's certification program. We distinguish between standards-based, software-based, and enterprise-based skill sets. Knowledge at the first 2 educational levels, knowledge and understanding, is called COBie Foundation. COBie Foundation learning and assessments will be organized like the current buildingSMART International BIM Certification Foundation programs, using a BSI chapter-specific framework. Knowledge at the next learning level is called COBie Practitioner. 2 additional types of learning are also required. Assessments for application and implementation learning are not provided by buildingSMART International. The previous slides provided a very quick look at the basis of design for the COBie Certified Professional exam. If you want to see the full set of details, you can find them in the COBie Educational Curriculum document. A summary of extracted learning objectives is also available for you. Both can be downloaded from cobie.buildingsmart.org. Now, let's turn away from the design of the COBie certification exam and to more practical matters. Specifically, what does it take for someone to become a COBie certified professional? To help with this, we published one sample set of questions from each of the 5 needed levels of Bloom's taxonomy. These show how the increasing levels of knowledge and skills required is assessed during this exam. So let's start at the top of the pyramid. At the top level of Bloom's taxonomy, candidates should be able to define, list, and recognize facts published in the COBie standard. Here's an example of a short answer question. Understanding the meaning of the terms from the standard is essential to answer this question. Only by using these terms can we effectively communicate about what is part and not part of a COBie dataset. At Bloom's second level, the candidate should be able to describe, explain, and identify COBie knowledge. Here's an example of a multiple choice question that has multiple correct answers. The answers to questions at this level can also be directly found in the COBie standard. At Bloom's third level, the candidate should be able to choose, demonstrate, and perform some specific actions required to implement COBie on a project. Here's an example of a multiple choice question that has one correct answer. At this level, if the candidate doesn't know an answer, they may need to use the process of elimination to throw out answers that are clearly wrong. At Bloom's fourth level, the candidate should be able to analyze, categorize, and compare answers to find the best way to solve project-specific COBie situations. Here's an example of a multiple choice question with one correct answer. To solve this problem, the candidate must analyze the situation and then choose the best answer. The highest level of skill assessed in the COBie Certified Professional Exam is Bloom's fifth level. Here, the candidate should be able to assess, evaluate, and rate project-specific information containing COBie data. This is an example of a multiple choice question that requires a review and interpretation of a graphic element. In this slide, the list of multiple choice options is not shown to make sure we can see the image. To demonstrate the level of understanding required to solve this problem, here's how I would solve it. First, one would look at the value of each of the cells to see if the information provided is correct. In this case, once we did that, we would see that all the cell values are actually okay, so we have to look for some other problem. We notice that the value for type name shows up in both rows 3 and 4. Because we know that the value found in type name must be unique, we can deduce that the correct answer for this question of which cell is incorrect is type name. This is a great example of how questions in the exam can assess Bloom's taxonomy knowledge and skills of different levels. So now let's return to the exam as a whole. Questions in this exam and the way they're organized has been the work of our committee for the past several months. We began this process by forming an international advisory board. These members include long-time BSI technical experts as well as those working in the design and construction field. Natively, the members speak US English, UK English, Japanese, and German. Our process started in January 2020 with a review of an initial question bank containing 503 questions. Our advisory board reviewed each of these questions and added additional questions to ensure the proper coverage of all needed topics. This resulted in a complete question bank that stands now at just over 600 questions. We also tested the exam software to ensure we had the proper content, interface, and instructions. A detailed review of exam results resulted in the better calibration of some of our questions. We also addressed the need to support qualified individuals who may not be native English speakers. Within the next several weeks, we'll be contacting those who pre-registered for the exam to help them schedule their session. After our initial queue of pre-registered people have completed their exam, BSI will continue to schedule exams on a periodic basis. You can sign up through our website. So practically speaking, what do you need to know? The first thing is that all the learning objectives covered in the exam have been published on our website. The next thing is that the exam is 2 hours long and has 160 questions. It's partially open book because at your office you'll have these resources available to you. And finally, we'll let you get used to the interface by providing some introductory sections that you can complete before you actually take the exam. This pie chart shows the overall distribution of questions by topic in the current exam. 34% of the questions are derived from question sets covering COBie scope, usage, and general organization. 44% of the questions pertain to key COBie objects such as facility, space, type, component, attribute, and document. The remaining 22% of the questions cover the other COBie tabs included in the exam. It should also be noted that questions covering COBie assembly, connection, coordinate, issue, and impact have been excluded from the exam by design. Some of this information has been depreciated, other data is not widely used in practice. buildingSMART International will publish the names of all of the people who passed the test. If you happen not to pass, you'll have an opportunity for a retake in a short amount of time. I'd now like to recognize the staff and volunteers who supported, created, and tested the COBie Certified Professional Exam. Thanks for your contribution. Before I conclude today, let me also thank you for your time. If you have any questions, please visit our Frequently Asked Questions page. The link is shown here. Now, I want to ask you one final question. With apologies to Jimi Hendrix, I want to ask you if you're ready for a personal COBie challenge. If you think you are, stop talking about it on social media and prove it. Prove it to those in your company and to those who might hire you. Once you do, I look forward to having you join us on the COBie Certified Professional Registry at COBie.buildingSMART.org.